Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse 1 here. Today is November 6th, I believe. Let me just double check that to make 100% sure. It is. It's Monday, 2017. Now, you're seeing a little bit of the peak of the sun now, but for the most part this entire day has been overcast, rainy, drizzly, and crap. I mean, you can see the clouds over in this area here are still all pretty crappy. So, that's what the most of the day was. So we're getting a little peak of the sunshine. Cool today. I think it's about 42 degrees out right now. So I'm going to turn this towards me. So we're going to talk about something today, and I think a lot of people are forgetting about this topic and subject. So I said, well, with all this, distractions and everything else that's going on, and another mass shooting that's happening in our society, let's talk about something else that's going to affect a lot more people than a mass shooting down in Texas, which is a shame, and people are absolutely insane to begin with for this nonsense to go on. It's just another way for these idiots with the gun control to go absolutely nuts, saying how we need to control guns and stuff like that. Well, let's talk about real quick before we get into the topic of this video. What about all the people that are killed by drunk drivers every year? You don't hear anybody talking about how we really need to regulate cars and take cars off the road, because cars are killing people, folks, once you put a drunk driver behind the wheel. So, I mean, it's just, it's just another way that people like Chuck Schumer and these other idiots are going to try to control everything, Nancy Pelosi and stuff like that, and they're going to try to continue to take away our rights as citizens, but that's, that's neither here nor there. So, topic of today's video, let's go back to an event September 20th. Now, you guys are going to be like, September 20th? What was September 20th? That was when the hurricane came through and devastated the island of Puerto Rico. Okay? It is not in the news anymore. You're not hearing about it realistically. It's not a fresh thing. It's 6 weeks ago. Why would we want to talk about Puerto Rico? Well, let's talk about 6 weeks after the event, and that only 30% of the island still has power. Okay, or has power restored, I should say. So 70% of the island still is without power. Let's talk about the 73,000 people of the 3.4 million people that live on the island who have left, and a lot of those people probably will not be returning to the island. Okay, they've come to live with relatives in the States, or just left because there's nothing there to stay for. When you don't have clean drinking water, and it's hard to get food and everything else, and you have no power, that's a little bit difficult. And it's 6 weeks later already. And so anyway, the Corps of Army Engineers, I'm looking at my notes here, he is saying that it's going to be 2 to 3 months more on top of the 6 weeks that it's already happened before most of the island is restored. And he also was saying that in the outlying areas, like the last mile of the lines, it could be spring or summer before those folks have power. Now think about that. Let's think about that in the context of if this happened in the coastal area, inside the United States. It is amazing that, that people aren't flipping out even more. Because if it happened, like, let's say that happened in New York, and they were talking that it was going to be 2 to 3 months more after 6 weeks, and only 30% of the states say had power, and it was going to be 2 to 3 months more before the majority of the people had power, people would lose their mind. They would lose their mind. But people aren't talking about Puerto Rico because it's this little island way off, and it's a commonwealth of the United States, and so people don't care. I care, because it's like, I look at that as it's a really good example of how bad things could possibly be. They're talking, I'm trying to look at my things here real quick. They have to ship in 62,000 power poles. They have to be shipped in from the United States. So they're not flying them in, they're sending them in by ship. Okay? So that's going to take some time. They have to lay 6,100 miles of cable. So think about that. I mean, logistically, it's going to obviously take some time. Now, right now, they have 400 contractors working on the island. They want to get up to 1,000 crews on there working on it. Okay, so let's talk about the cost of all this. I mean, what is this costing? Right now, they're saying that the estimated cost, what they have a budget for, is $600 million. And this general who's in charge of the Army Corps of Engineers is trying to get things squared away down there. He's asking for an additional $240 million so they can really get things rocking and rolling. There's a lot of power lines still down there. There's a lot of people that are suffering. And a lot of these people are, you know, there's a lot of citizens of the United States that live there, you know, and basically Puerto Rico has actually voted to become a state as well. They've gone ahead and done that. So, I mean, they're part of us, guys. I mean, it's not like it's, you know, even it's a commonwealth. You know, it's one of our territories that we own. But you know, they're part of us. And so there are people, we need to take care of them. And I know there's a lot of groups that out there that are trying to help and trying to coordinate stuff. There's a lot of church groups that are down there, which is really, really, you know, awesome. And, you know, clean drinking water is a huge, huge factor down there right now. So I know that they're setting up kits with buckets to try to help them filter water, to clean up the water so that they can have drinkable water, okay? I mean, it's really, really bad right now. I mean, and think about, like, if you were in your area and after 6 weeks only 30% of the people still had power or had power restored, because the entire island was knocked out. They were 100% without power. So 6 weeks after that event has happened, only 30% of the island has been restored with power, which, you know, that is insane. And I get it, logistically it's tough because of where it is, location-wise, and it's not like you can just have the crews drive down. Like when we have a power outage up here in the Northeast, let's say there's something happens in Pennsylvania or Florida or whatever, you know, the companies will send people from up here, drive down, and you know, and they'll all work together and they'll help out and they'll try to get the power restored. So it's really, really bad right now for these people. Let me see what else I had wrote down here. I'm just trying to look at my notes. Like I said, the major issue is safe drinking water. That is definitely a big thing with that. And you know, but I mean, they're working on things, but it's not going fast enough, obviously. I just saw another article that was saying there was a hospital ship sitting in the harbor with nobody on it. Why? It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, there's people in need. There's people that need help. You know, there's people that are dying because of the situation down there, and it's not being talked about in the news. It's not really, you know, it's one of those out of sight, out of mind type of things. But you know, you're talking 3.4 million people on an island, and you know, 6 weeks later, only 30% of them have had power restored. And they're talking 2 to 3 months before the majority of people have their power restored. And then after that 2 to 3 month period, which you're looking at, what, January, February, then you're still looking at your farther outlying areas not looking to have power until spring or summer. So let's see, how would you like to not have power for 3 months? See how that would work out here in the continental United States. I don't think it would go over really well. I think people would absolutely lose their freaking minds. It's a really bad situation there. It's a really good thing to look at of how bad things could possibly be. I mean, let's put it like this. This is with modern technology available. This is with everything, you know, that we have in place to be able to do something, and it's going to take that long now. Now let's look at it. If those conveniences weren't there, how long would that take to get that squared away down there, or anywhere else? You know, as far as that goes. And when you have, you know, I mean, before the storm hit, you know, Puerto Rico was just like anywhere else in the United States. They had every amenity and everything available. And I'm just pulling leaves off of here. You know, they had everything right there, just like we all do. And so, you know, now here they are, basically back to the 1800s for the moment, and the major issues, food and water, okay, and no power. So this is something to look at, guys, from a prepping aspect as well, how important it is to be ready for whatever. Right now, Puerto Rico is having their SHTF event. They truly are. And it's been going on for 6 weeks. Now, in the forefront, when first it all started, it was all in the news, and everybody was all also concerned. But now, you know, out of sight, out of mind, let's move on to the next tragedy. And that's what the news is going to focus on. But in the meantime, there's still a major, major issue happening. Now, I'm going to turn this around real quick and show you how in just a couple of minutes on here, what the clouds have done again. They've come right back, overcast again, everything. The weather's just really been unpleasant, I guess, the last couple days. I mean, it's that time of year, so, you know, and as you can see, a lot of the leaves are now gone. There's still a couple of trees that have leaves there, but a lot of the leaves on the trees up here, they're all gone now. So, like I said, it's just that time of year. What are you going to do? We're, you know, getting ready for the next phase of this here. So, anyway, guys, I want you to think about this. I want you guys to look it up. I want you to study this and see what's going on, because this is a really scary thing in the aspect that this could affect us if there was a major, major event in the United States. So that's something to think about, okay? And very, very important. Now, like I said, I'm not going to diminish what has happened as far as what's happened in Texas and the loss of life because of a psychopath, but restricting the gun laws is not going to change. Bad guys do not follow the rules. They don't follow the laws. They don't care about the laws. That's why they go in and they kill a bunch of people, because they don't care about human life or laws, okay? So all you do with gun laws is you restrict the average citizen from being able to protect themselves. That's all that does, and that's ridiculous. And I don't want to be standing around waiting to be a victim, personally. But anyway, guys, remember, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen. And remember, guys, STD, it's one step at a time, one thing at a time, one day at a time. Everything that happens in our lives, you know, we do have some form of a control over. You can choose to be happy, you can choose to be miserable. You know, if you're not happy in your situation, change your situation. You know, and whatever your goals are, whatever you're working towards, you can do it. You really, truly can. We are a prime example of that, being out here and doing what we're doing out here. A lot of people told me there's no way I would be able to do what we're doing, and here we are, and we're doing it. So anyway, guys, listen, have a great day. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now.